Good morning, live streamers. We'll be live on the radio in about 60 seconds, so you get the 1 minute early preview. Ooh, right?
Fancy.
A little show before the show, huh?
Show before the show.
Behind the scenes action, folks. Behind the scenes.
It feels extra hot in here today. Is it these lights? Like,
It's just him.
it's
just
Wayne.
me. I
Wayne came with the energy.
generate natural light.
Wayne brought it. He was like, "Man, I'm ready today."
I'm burning up.
Oh.
Hopefully not for illness.
Silly.
It is hot. I was hot on the way down.
Really?
And I was at one point, before I got to the turn off at 276, I was thinking about putting my AC on. That's how hot I was. I was like,
Open it.
I'm literally sweating right now.
You don't have the corona, do you?
Oh,
All right, good.
I don't leave the house. When would I ever get it? This is the furthest I venture at any given moment. Once a week, trip down to Philly.
Good morning, Philadelphia listeners on WWDB 860 and everywhere else via the live stream. This is Kevin O'Brien. I'm with Wayne Middleton. It's Monday morning. It's the SMB Acceleration show. Be sure to stay tuned for the entire hour today. We're going to be joined by Bart Mroz, CEO of Sumo Heavy. Sumo Heavy is a boutique digital e-commerce consulting firm with a foundation of efficiency through process, which is something, as everyone who listens knows, Wayne and I love efficiency. I think that's one of the real things most small businesses need. So if you miss anything today, you want to be sure to download the podcast. You can get it anywhere you get your podcast. So before we get into it, Wayne, I know you took a different route, but how was the drive down?
It was actually really good. I got here before everyone else, which is it just doesn't happen.
I mean, you beat me here, and I live 2 roads away.
Yeah, it was so early that Dan even said, "Wow, you're here first. This can't be good."
But
you know,
excellent.
It was nice. I didn't get onto 76, which is always a pleasure not to go on that road. So it pulled me back through Roxborough, and I got to see a little bit of the Yunk, which has been a while since I've been on the Yunk.
Nice.
And then back up onto City Ave, nice and easy.
Nice. That's how it took you down through there and all.
Yeah.
Did it take you down Main Street?
It took me down
like Ridge?
Ridge Ave, all the way down from there, from Plymouth Meeting. So I managed to get to say hello to my friends there. And then we drove down from there and got off at City Ave.
Excellent. Wow.
And of course, I was late.
Where are you coming from?
Benjamin Parkway.
No.
And you guys made me drive this morning.
Yeah.
I usually walk.
To you, what's it? The office?
Yeah. Our office is in Old City, so it's like a good 40-minute walk from home.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
You walk to work.
Yeah, every day.
That's a nice way to start the day. Man.
Well, I mean, I used to be like, when you live in Philly, everybody just takes the subway or whatever else. I lived in New York for 5 years. Your world of distance changes.
Really? Just as far as walking and...
Yeah, back in Philly, it's like everything is 20 minutes.
Yeah.
New York. 20,
yeah,
quote-unquote 20 minutes.
Oh, so you started your Monday morning out having to drive out this way.
I know. It's crazy.
Now, do you park at the office or you park at the
No,
house?
I'm going to go. Down? Yeah. Exactly what's going to happen later.
Nice. Yeah, London's one of those really walkable cities too, because God forbid you get on the subway and turn into a tuna sandwich. So packed, so many people, so you end up walking everywhere. And my morning walk was pretty nice. You used to walk across Waterloo Bridge, see Westminster, see the big wheel thing that everyone likes, and then walk up from there. I think it's called the Millennium Wheel. Yeah, that's right. Walk up from there up through the Soho. That's all I'm going to say about that, and then into London proper. That was my commute.
I like it. I prefer to walk. I feel like if I ever had lived in New York City, I'd always walk everywhere just from there.
It depends where you are, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like living and where you work are totally different worlds. You never live where you work. I mean, just never next to it.
No, that's terrible. Because then, like, getting in from one of the outer boroughs, especially if you worked like downtown somewhere,
it can be hard.
Yeah, my business partner, he lived a little outside of on Long Island a little bit, and it took me an hour and a half.
Oh,
ouch!
Which is basically what you do from here to New York.
Yeah, you can take the Acela every day up there.
It's an hour and 20 minutes.
It took him an hour and a half.
Yeah, he was out there because so if you're in New York, he was taking Long Island Railroad, but it was the only line that doesn't go through one of the stations, so you can just jump on the subway. So you have to go to Penn Station and then just take the subway.
Is that why you moved your business to Philadelphia?
Again, no. He just decided to move to Philly.
Okay.
And then a year later, I moved to Philly.
Really?
Right back home, yeah.
Very cool. How do you like being in, something I was going to ask you later, but how do you like Philadelphia versus New York?
So New York is crazy. I love New York. I have this thing where you either love New York or hate it, but you can't tell me you love it or hate it till you actually live there.
True.
It's a weird, because if you just go up there for an hour or two or a day, it's a different experience. You have to actually live it. I love it. I love the craziness of it.
Okay.
Coming back to Philly, it took me good 3 months to slow down.
I can see that.
In every single way.
Yeah.
Like, it's a weird, from meetings to late meetings, like, I'm home every night at like a decent hour. Where in New York, you had like drink meetings at 10 o'clock at night. Because it just happened.
Really?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's a different life.
There's that much more gets done. It's
not that much. It's just crazy because you have to run around like crazy. But the problem with it is like most youngers, you don't have kids or stuff like that.
Yeah.
You have a small, tiny apartment. Nobody really cooks at home. So you go out. But that's a whole day of worth of things going on all the time.
Yeah.
Which is great. Sure. You get older and that doesn't get fun anymore.
No, I can't tell you. I talked to a number of people who have moved out of New York when they had kids for several different reasons of like.
Well, schools are expensive.
I was gonna say,
if you want to get this, private schools, getting kids into private, like I have friends who live there, have kids, and they love it and they're okay with it. We just decided to not.
Yes, I can't imagine what a New York City private school must cost.
Don't even go there.
Yeah, you don't want to know.
I mean, I know there are 40,000 here by the ones by me. I can't imagine you had like 20K to that.
Yeah, at least.
Kindergarten starts at 60.
Plus, basically, you got to enroll when they're born.
Really? That's awesome.
Or prior, if you can.
Yeah. If you can.
Yeah.
Put down the $50,000 deposit.
That's right.
We got him in for the first 6 months.
Oh.
Yep.
So I guess it was because you don't have that same. Philadelphia is a busy city, but it doesn't have that same.
Well, people live outside.
A
lot of people live outside. So and going back to like drink meetings, you can have a drink meeting at 5 because you have at 5 and they leave by 6:37.
Yeah,
be home in a decent hour because you skip all the traffic, right?
Yeah.
So it changes the whole how you do business and how fast it is and stuff like that. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the slowdown, just a little bit.
Yeah. But I'm sure it did take you a while to unwind from that 24/7 mentality.
It did a little bit. I mean, owning a business, you're kind of always thinking about it. But the change now is I'm home with my wife. We'll make dinner. I mean, I'm still doing work after whatever, but it just changed completely, which is great. I mean, it makes it a little more slow down, makes life just a little better.
Yeah. How's it from a competition standpoint? Do you know? Is there any noticeable difference between?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so much bigger, right? So, if you look at ad agencies or agencies itself, there's just every corner has one, and it's just so much big in New York, and it's small ones, and everybody works together. The thing you get there is access to, bigger companies all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Amazon, Facebook, everybody's there.
Yeah.
So you have that access if you need to, and you can meet people faster.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, like, if you go to tech sort of networking events, right? Philly has a lot of them, but nothing on what New York has, right?
That
and you
makes
can go
sense, just from
20 events a night and not bump into the same people.
Wow.
Whereas Philly, you still have that.
It's a small community.
It's a very small community, which is fine.
Yeah.
The size of it is different.
It's interesting, right? I guess now, and there's you have access to a lot more companies.
Yeah, no, I mean, startups, like, the startup world in New York has expanded in the past 10, 15 years.
Okay.
Really quickly. It's just access, money, like, it's all of it.
Yeah.
Philly's slowly getting there. It's always slowly getting there.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Which I don't mind. I mean, I've been in this industry for a very long time in Philly, and I love it. It's my hometown. It's what it is.
So did you start the business in Philadelphia?
Yeah, we started in Philly in 2010. So we're coming up on our 10th birthday.
Oh, excellent. When is it?
May 13th.
May 13th. Actually.
Yeah, we kind of go by a stamp on paperwork.
Yeah. No, that's a great way to do it,
right? Yeah. Like that's the number. But yeah, it would be 10 years old, which is kind of crazy.
Nice. Any kind of big plans, or are they a secret and you can't reveal them?
No plans. We almost never do anything, but this year we're gonna try. It's a weird weekend, but we're gonna try to do something. I don't know.
Nice. You're You're like, I can't spill the beans because I don't know what they are.
Well, besides wearing the CEO hat, I actually am official party planner for the company, so make all the parties.
Nice. That's a good dual role.
Chief bottle washer too.
Yeah, that's also good. So 10 years. That's we met probably 5-6 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I was trying to work with you at the company at the time with Shunra Software.
Yep.
And I know from that period of time to where you are today, you've grown a lot, actually.
Grown a lot, changed how we do stuff.
Yep.
There's just 10 years of just changes, and it feels like it's just been yesterday.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Moves very, very fast. Because we were talking about, God forbid, Drupal, I think, at the time.
We'll do it. We're focused on e-commerce. That's just what we do. But when we started, was just a development job.
Yeah.
An hourly development job. That's all we did. Contractors and
and
then we almost closed our doors the first year. So that was a fun time.
That's always fun.
Yeah, when a client doesn't pay you about $100,000 and you have about $100 in your pocket to pay people before Christmas.
That kills. Ouch. That kills.
Yeah, that's a fun story.
Oh.
Well played. We actually, that story is, we had a client, it was a client of a client, didn't pay, and we basically had no choice just to figure out how to do this. 15 contractors.
Wow.
I have about $5 in my pocket, $100 in the bank. Drove to the client in a snowstorm.
Really?
Yep. 2 hours. That should take about 20 minutes.
Wow.
Walked in. They handed me a check for $10,000, and I was like, "Where's the zero?" They're like, "Nope, sorry."
No way.
Yep. Came back. My business partner was like, "What are we gonna do?" I'm like, "Well, beg, borrow, and steal." That was our whole moment of, do we spend the next? Basically, my thing was, do we spend the next 2 to 3 years of our life trying to recover that money? Probably not even recover any of it, or recover and pay the attorneys to do it. Or do we turn around, figure out the business itself, how we can actually change from hourly to other things we do, and get more clients and just go hustle. Just go get clients. And that's really where that happened. And, from changing to that, and networking really well and just keeping relationships, now we got bigger clients as we went along.
Yeah.
That'd be a tough realization, huh?
You have to have it's funny because in our company we have my business partner is the technical. He's all the delivery. He does all the process, what we do, how we do it.
Okay.
That's where it comes from. I come from the other side of it. Someone has to go sell. But it's all about relationships. It's not just picking up the phone and cold calling. It's all about relationships.
Yeah.
And we grew. We don't have a hockey stick growth. We grew nicely, slowly. We like it that way.
Progressive growth.
Progressive growth. Yeah. We've been about between 15 and 20 people for almost 10 years.
Okay.
Just very steady.
Yeah.
We're 22 right now. We hired 3 people in Philly in our office last year, which was a biggie.
Wow. Okay.
Which is great. We want more, and we definitely want to grow in Philly and do that. But over the years, you just kind of learn. We changed how we work and how we bill, and went through that process.
Yeah. So
we went from hourly all the way to we're full retainer, monthly retainer for a client.
Okay.
Which is a different style of working.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Absolutely. And have you expanded your services from those very early days?
Yeah, so it's just not development. We used to be a Magento, which is a e-commerce platform development shop. That's all we did.
Okay.
Now we're consulting, strategy. We do our biggest thing that we do is for bigger clients, we work with internal teams to make it more efficient. Work with the business better, technology, all the technology. So architecture, signs, some staff augmentation, we kind of work within them. We stay with a client because of retainer model. We stay with a client for a while.
Okay.
Our longest right now is 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Our shortest is 2 months because we just had somebody we're working on a project right now.
Yeah.
But over the years,
project.
Our largest clients, we've been there for 3 years now.
Wow.
And it's longer term projects because they want to work. So for smaller clients, it's being that team that helps them grow.
Mm-hmm.
So our clientele, for some reason right now, is either $25 million in sales online or under, or 100 and over.
Interesting.
We do that middle too, but it's been interesting for us. We'll take it on.
Yeah.
The smaller ones are really just being that team for them, being the technology team for them.
Yeah.
So.
And then most of them are using Magento?
No, it's everything.
Really
so it's we say like Shopify, Magento, BigCommerce, any of the platforms are just part of our toolkit. It's an e-commerce platform. We do a lot of integrations. We do a lot of backend stuff. But half our business now is working with internal teams and helping them do agile properly and do process and business process and technology and documentation and architecture, really working with them so that they can work with the business better.
Scale it up.
Yeah, we mean business, because what happens in those teams, and it doesn't matter if it's small team or big, is that there's a disconnect a lot of times between technology teams and the business itself.
Okay.
Right? Because the business doesn't understand how, especially in the agile world. It's kind of like, well, it's going to get done when it's done, but business wants deadlines.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to like figure out what to do with that, right? And it's where we stray from hourly is that hourly for me, it's like the basis of how that person works, not the team. It's the effective rate of the team itself.
Yeah, okay.
So that's kind of how we kind of play with.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we work internally like that. Like everything that we kind of push on the client, we do internally. We actually process it and do it our way, because it's like, if you look at our company, the process that we have should be run in big ginormous companies.
Okay.
But we do it on purpose.
Really?
Yeah.
So that you have that process.
So we have that process so we can test it, so we can have it, and then it just makes it easier for us to go to a client. That means we're efficient. Like, we do more work with 22 people than most would do 50, 75 agencies.
Wow.
That's huge. Because we do in a retainer model, everybody touches every single project that we own. So that it's a nice, steady, and we can adjust it how it goes along.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure your employees appreciate that. There's nothing worse than working in an agency where you get pigeonholed in like 2 or 3 clients, and all of a sudden that's all you do, and you're like,
right,
I'd like to see something. You know, like,
right.
I might have a like great idea to bring the other client X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, I mean, there's times that they still gotta go through that process of menial tasks. You should have to do it. It's the job. Like that's part of it, right? But it's nice to have front-end developers or back-end developers move around from project to project, new things. Here's that. They're never getting things. Try not to get them bored. I mean, they're going to be, because it's part. Everybody is, right? Yeah. But we try not to. Okay. So it's planned out work all the time, and yeah.
So is it more expensive for you as a business owner up front, building the process, and then
over the years, yes, but not now.
Now you have a kind of idea how they land.
So for clients, we actually do what we call Sumo heavy weigh-in, which is discovery, assessment, and then road mapping, and depends on the client. That usually takes between 2 to 6 weeks. Okay. And it's a paid discovery, basically. That's what we do. And then we know what we got to do next. For the next 6 months, whatever that is.
Yeah, because then without all that upfront, and I found this at other agencies who don't do the strategy up front. Like, how do you know where to go? You've got to you've got to be able to do the insights. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. Nothing worse than like having an hour conversation, or even half an hour conversation with a client on a phone call and go, "Oh, okay, here's the price." I'm like,
now we're ready. Like, no, that doesn't work.
Especially in our business, when it comes to e-commerce, for me, it's like building a barista. You know that. Yeah. It's the same thing. Like, if you had a client call you, "Hey, I need a building." And you're like, okay, well, it's $1 million.
Yeah. How do you have any idea?
You don't have no idea. Was it 2 stories, 5 stories?
Exactly.
Where's the window? Like, all that stuff is I just don't get that. This is where people get into trouble with scope creep and over budgets. Yep. And I understand. Listen, I understand that clients need budgets because they need to go and get approval for them. I get it. Our process of doing the Sumo heavy weigh-in is that would get you there. Yeah. It's a small, tiny fee for us to plan it out. I mean, you're going to pay for an architect and somebody to do it. Yeah. So why not do it this way?
Yep.
And then you know what's going on. And it's funny because most people are like, well, that's going to slow us down. I'm like, no, it's not. It's going to slow you down for the beginning of it. But it's going to be so much faster later because you have everything planned out.
Yeah. And I've had this conversation with many other people that I've worked with over the years, that the upfront bit is if you put a lot more emphasis on the upfront planning, strategy, and everything else, and it's the shortest amount of time executionally, because then the rest of it becomes much quicker because you've already planned it out well enough that you can move through that process easy. But there's still, even today, agencies still work on that process, which is, we're going to front load everything. We're going to tell you exactly what you need, and then we're going to deliver it. And then, oh, by the way, once you've delivered this fantastic product, the client doesn't like it, or they've got this, or they want to change that,
or they missed a major requirement.
Or missed a major requirement, which I've seen more times than I care to mention. And that's where you start to get the impact on your budget. That's where that's where the relationship starts to break down to, because then the trust goes.
And not that from ours, that's like set in stone when we deliver it, right? That blueprint. It's going to change. It's just giving you a better idea what the project will look like, right? Because in the style we work of retainer, it's a month to month.
Okay, yeah.
That means we plan out every single week with the client, so we know what's going on. So when in the middle of the project they go, "Hey, we need to adjust our thing because this came up." Okay, not a problem. Let's adjust it. Let's figure it out. But it's not a whole long process of scope changes in this.
Yes.
It makes no sense.
Yeah,
I just don't get it.
You can move quicker. You move quicker. Do you remember that we both worked somewhere, me and Kevin, where we was literally told to put up on our desk? Do you remember that postcard? Scope change.
Yes.
If it's not written down or not required, it's a scope change. That's what they kept drilling in, because people kept misunderstanding what a scope change was. So the client would go, "Oh, I need this," and they go, "Oh yeah," trying to be a good.
You know what happened? I'll never forget on that. And somebody was like, "Blog," and I went over and we were doing architecture on it, and I said, "Well, that's blog, yes. What does that mean?" And they were like, "The blog," and I was like, "Well, all the individual pages of the blog," and they were like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, you have 30 minutes budget here for blog. Do you know how many blogs they have?" And they were like, "I don't know." I was like, it was something like 200.
Yeah.
And I was like, "We're supposed to, redo all these page titles, this and that, in 30 minutes on 200 blogs," and somebody went, "Oh,
yeah."
Right.
Yeah.
So then what?
Yeah.
Right. So we look at it as just architecting things properly and going through that process. It's definitely, it helps.
Oh yeah.
Now we've lost clients because of it.
Oh, I'm sure. It's a tough sell sometimes.
It's always a tough sell. Tough sell between that and a retainer. They don't know how to compare it.
Yeah.
Right. Because everything is so hourly still.
Yes.
I don't understand.
I don't.
Think about this. We charge one monthly fee for the whole team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what your year looks like with us. It's not hard.
Actually, retainers. Yeah, I know.
We call a retainer.
Yeah.
It's not a traditional attorney retainer, like what you think of retainer, right? Technically, it's a subscription model.
Yeah.
You buy our time for the monthly fee, right? I just don't like the word subscription because that's kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
It's probably a better way to actually explain it.
It is. I mean, it's just. I mean, you retain our services for the month.
Oh yeah,
it's the same thing.
But you're right. There are people put that attorney feeling tied to retainer.
Right.
And I feel like there's this almost negative connotation sometimes.
A little bit, but that's the only way you can describe it.
No, you're right. But subscriptions and funny because people are so open to subscriptions now, right? Everybody has about 400 of them.
Right. So why not be subscribed to a consulting firm? Sure. But the great thing about it is I'm seeing more and more my style of sort of work happening more and more.
Okay.
Sort of the monthly stuff. People still deal with buck of hours, which makes no sense either. The only reason I'm against all these things is we've done them all.
Oh yeah.
We went from hourly to bill every other week or 2 weeks ahead or bucket of hours, and we just went through every iteration of it. Until one day I said, here's a number and we're just going to do it.
Yeah. That's a great point. I think we should get back to that as soon as we get back from break. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I have a question about the hour versus retainer model, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
I thought we were going right into it.
Yeah, for those... I wish I could turn the camera around, live people, because Dan is...
giving me a hard time.
Losing his mind in the booth back there.
I'm too worried about the end of the show. I always end the show 35, 40 seconds too early.
Yeah.
On the radio, because it all has to mesh. There you go. There's a little behind the scenes for the live stream people. So
Kevin
I'll be like,
sucks at the,
and I'll just stop, and Dan's like,
interchanges.
Dan's going, no, go. Dad.
I'll just sit here and I look at you and I'll talk forever, and he can stop me.
He's like, yeah, I'll just hit click.
I just go.
Click. Done.
Oh, that's funny.
We'll mix it out. I'll do the intro next week and see how badly I do.
You can do
I
that.
think that'd be good. Be good for me to practice. Oh.
We make our junior account manager do the intro sometimes. It's hilarious.
Really?
Yeah. She's a little anxious. It's kind of fun.
That's awesome.
So, actually, I should save this for the show. I'm going to save it for the show. But the one thing I'm getting a good sense of is a better transparency with the client too.
Oh my God.
Huge.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
Everything's open.
Yeah. Because
our tools, everything is
the
open.
hourlies, and that's the smoke and mirrors that people don't get. Can you hear a knocking, or is it just me?
Yeah, upstairs somewhere.
Yeah. You're going to deal with him, I'm sure. He can be quite scary.
Who?
Dan.
Audio engineers are not scary.
Oh no, they can be. They can be very
They're
scary.
great.
He can't hear us, which is quite good. Alrighty. We're about to go live again, folks. So if you've got any questions, give us a call at 888-329-3306. Or if you're on the live stream, just tap in the old comments box.
All right. We're back. We're here with Bart, and we're talking right now kind of billing, how small businesses should kind of look at, a monthly model versus an hourly model. And that's something I've always had an issue with, is the hourly model. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because I feel like this is terrible to say, having worked in many agencies, but you build it in for like people going to the bathroom. I'll never forget when the place Wayne and I worked together, they were so adamant about billing to the minute that one of the developers went like, kind of as developers like to do sometimes, take it something a little bit like kind of far.
A little bit too literally.
He literally, from the minute he walked in, every time he went to like get coffee, he would like start a timer and walk back and be like, coffee. And then it was like number 1, number 2.
Oh, jeez. So the funny thing is, so for us, we do track it. We track it internally.
Yeah, absolutely.
We track it internally, and it's not like that. It's never like that.
Yeah.
It's just looking at how much time it takes. And, we started doing retainer. We literally put a number on a board and said, let's work backwards.
Yeah, no, that's
like one day, my business partner had an issue with it, but eventually we worked at it and it worked. And we're like, all right, we can make this happen. So we went backwards. So, and that's like, we've been doing that for about 6 years now.
Wow. Okay.
Exactly of that. And then over past year and a half or so, we've figured out a sort of addition to that, or expanding it, where what we took to earlier is like, it's about the team itself.
Yeah.
So we're figuring out how to use sort of metrics to figure out how efficient is your team.
Oh, I love it.
Because then we can actually tell, say, a ticket or a feature takes a week and a half or a week, give or take 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can go backwards from that and go, all right, well, this whole thing is you can actually get to deadlines in the agile world, which is tricky, but there's a way to do it. And I get the hours, because hours are it's an easy measure.
Mm-hmm.
It's finite.
The problem with it is like, my hour and your hour are 2 different things. Mm-hmm. And how you measure that, and like how fast it is and all that. There's the problem I have a problem with measuring that. And being effective for the client and being on the same level as client, right? Like, I think hourly, and I know a few people that do it really well on an hourly basis for clients. I just have the problem, it just doesn't match. Yeah. A client loses on that one every time.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, because a lot of it gets handed to junior people, unfortunately. And so,
in the big consulting, it's not even junior, like overall loses, because you don't know what your stretch is or what it is, right? Yeah. Like, you have one thing for us and you can change it up and help. Like, we become part of the company, right? They don't have to worry about billing. That's just a monthly rate.
Yeah.
So that means project managers on both sides can go out and do what they got to do. Until we go, hey, listen, and we reevaluate it every single month, how much work we're doing with them, what the weekly is, how it is. We kind of know how it's going.
Excellent.
And everybody asks us all the time, we have tools for that. few years, we figured out how to actually do it.
Yeah.
Without messing it up.
But the thing is, if you don't try, you don't succeed. And I think the other thing, we were just talking about this during the break, it adds a great sense of transparency between you and the client in terms of where a project is at. Whereas a lot of these other companies that are using the hourly based method, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in there.
Right. So in our model, we actually give them access to all their tools.
Okay.
All of them.
Wow.
Well, we use Atlassian tools for everything, for projects and stuff like that. But they get access to everything. They get access to our Slack. They get access to it. They get a weekly call. If the client is bigger, it's daily.
Yeah.
But they have access to everybody. So we become part of their company completely. To a point where we literally had a company put us on their org chart one time.
Nice.
Which was pretty hilarious.
You're doing it right when you've been added to the org chart, right? Yeah.
I'm not expecting everybody to do that, but that was kind of a funny moment. We just became part of the company.
So what kind of companies are your like wheelhouse in the under 25 million?
We don't have a vertical. We go after so we say it's everything transactional.
Okay.
So we've done work for like City Bike. We built some of that. That transactional is not really that commerce-y, like traditional commerce.
Okay.
So we deal with a whole bunch of different things.
Oh, cool.
Traditional still, but they're all over the place. From sports bands to shoes to dogs, maybe pets, dogs. Just dogs. We're selling dogs.
Sell dogs.
Just sell dogs. No, but like to pets we don't have a vertical. It's everything transactional, but we play in both worlds really well.
Okay, no, it's interesting. I at one time worked with a 100-year-old valve company that had opened like an e-commerce brand. It sounds like you would actually have been perfect for.
We are building currently for somebody that. Hey, it's not sexy. It's not a sexy brand. It's not, Nikes or whatever. Yeah. But they do so well in a very specific thing. Once we launch it, we put it out there. But it's really weird. It works. It's a very minute, like you would never know, like that's the product you need.
Yeah.
But it's that. It's like one of those pipe type places.
Yeah, and it was the same thing. It was people searching by like very specific product ID numbers that were in catalogs, kind of thing.
Yeah, catalog businesses right now are like the best way. The B2B catalog businesses are probably the best way to like put those companies onto online.
Really?
Yeah. Because think about it, like construction
catalog
guys, right?
Management.
Yeah. Construction guys, they don't have phones. They're not going to like pick up a catalog. If they're on a thing, hey, we need a pipe, type it on the cell phone and you're good to go.
Or the iPad.
They all have them now. They're all starting to have them. Right, so you are changing the way that works.
Yeah, that's the true digital transformation when you're talking about transforming businesses.
I hate that word, by the way.
I know you do.
Oh, do you?
So yes. I'll keep using
it. That's awesome.
I actually worked on a project with a company down in Texas. They basically did prefab building kind of ideas. It was for big office blocks and corporate buildings, and basically they wanted an online catalog, and it was one of the most effective. But what I loved about it is the challenge of like understanding how someone searches for this, Rivet B6 21222.
Right.
But they literally did do it, widget 1234892Z. And that's how they were using their search. You just have to be clever about it, but you attach a very good e-commerce experience to it, and people love it.
Well, you gotta go in the field for that, right? Because those guys know what they want, right? Yeah. They want quick search. That's what they know. They've been doing it forever. Yeah. Would it be a text search or whatever else is, right? Yeah. People get that confused. They're like, I just want the catalog online.
Yeah, no,
that's not how that works.
The search is the thing you need.
Yeah, and my biggest thing is like when you're building something for a client, you're not building for them. You're building for the end customer. Yes. And that's always the back and forth between clients, right? It's like, we're not building this for you. You might not like something, but we researched it for the end customer. You're not your own customer. And that's always the hardest.
It's probably the hardest thing to get people to buy into, especially, I think, even in base websites, right?
Even the base websites.
I like these colors. You're like, it doesn't matter what you like.
It doesn't. It really does not. Because the market is the market is the market.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's part of what the end client is going to say. Would it be B2B or B2C? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, it's just customer centric. If you can focus on the end user and you can deliver the stellar experience that they want, doesn't matter what the client needs at that point. You're focusing on the end user.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously brand colors and all that, sure, but what the site does and looks and does, like, that's important.
Yeah.
And that's not, you're never going to shop your site. I mean, you should. As a small client, you absolutely should always shop your stuff and see how it works, or have, my favorite is always go to my parents sometimes and go, hey, can you shop this?
Yeah.
Like, how's it feel?
How easy is it?
How's it? Like, that is a small hack, but go to people who don't use this every day.
Yeah.
Right? We forget from the digital side is like, we do this every day.
Yeah, like,
I don't have to look at things to know where it is.
Yeah.
But people in the real world don't do this.
No, you're right. Absolutely. I think it was really interesting for especially those big B2B, man, is to look at a website, like a e-commerce based one. Because I feel like none of them, not none, but so few.
So few do. And I think there's a lot more getting built right now, but it's got to be it's a lot of research.
Yeah. And
putting our money into it. I mean, we talked about it. It's like putting research into it, putting money into it doesn't make sense. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it before the show, the idea that, buying a, $100 thing a month, that's a lot of money. It's like, in reality, isn't. It's like, what's the total cost of ownership? Yeah. And I think people forget that too. Like the whole, like this might be this much, or, the way we look at tools is like, is it going to make our job faster or better?
Yes.
And how much time that saves us and all that. And when you start in the beginning, you use whatever you can for free and whatever, but eventually you get to a point where like, well, how efficient is this?
Yeah, how much better does it make?
How much time am I spending on something?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that way with project management tools sometimes. Like some of the complex ones, you're like, there's got to be and there's much better ones today.
I mean, we use Atlassian Suite, which is Jira and all that. That's a huge tool. Yeah. But we have it set up properly. We train our clients. Yeah. We know what to do with it every day.
That's nice.
So it's different, right? Yeah. It's not the most pleasing looking sometimes, but it works.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it has been around for ages
Ever.
As well. Yeah. Good. It's a good platform and a great company, I have to say.
What's got me?
Go on.
Because I haven't brought up the news, but do you know what I saw yesterday?
Go on now.
There was an article about how 90% of people are using the internet, which I thought was kind of a low number, but how many businesses still don't have a website? It was another study saying how many businesses are going to get a website in 2020. And I was like, gosh, is this really true? What's that?
Another one.
Yeah.
I mean,
if this was 1/3, 30 million small businesses plan to create a website for the first time in 2020.
Which is really weird, right?
We brought it up a couple weeks ago that there was a study right at the end of last year that like 46% don't even have one. So out of that, 16% still are saying no website.
Well, I mean, it's easy to say, it's like because with tools like Squarespace and Wix and all that, you can just do it yourself. You know what happens? People are afraid of it.
Yep.
People think they still need to call a bigger company. Like we,
that's a great point.
Yeah, I mean, in our world, right? People are like, "Oh, into company, like I'm selling a T-shirt." With the tools you have now, you can do it yourself just fine in the beginning. You don't need to have any crazy between Shopify or WooCommerce or anyone. Yeah. You can do it yourself.
Yeah,
right?
Is it just fear of the
fear.
unknown?
Yeah.
Unknown.
I say it's fear, and then it's the reality is that they suddenly realize it's going to take them a lot of time. They've got to learn it. They've got to figure it out. They got.
Correct.
And that's where they start getting panicky. And then they start getting panicky because they're getting other kind of challenges thrown at them, like UX, UI, and trying to understand what that is. And then how do I choose the right template? I mean, even something as simple as that can be very overwhelming to someone who's not used to doing it.
Yeah, for small business, I would say Squarespace or Wix is an easy way to do it. Just put it up there. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
No.
When it comes to e-commerce, that's where you get a little bit in trouble. You can use Shopify for small stuff. The problem is you have to kind of read up on every part of e-com. People think it's just like, oh, it's up there. No. Shipping is hard.
Yep.
Taxes, payments, customer service, all that is hard. Putting the site up and putting it out there, that's the easy part. It's everything else that's very complex.
It's the underlying stuff. Yeah.
Interesting, because I feel like there's this narrative sold online that just start, your e-commerce brand, t-shirt business, and you'll make $1 million.
Right. So you can have a t-shirt. This is always the example I use is like, you can have, our job is you can have a t-shirt company selling $50 t-shirt, but you're spending $50 to sell that t-shirt.
Yeah.
I have a company that sells for $50, but I'm only spending $20. Right. The idea for us is to help you go under that. Right. Yeah. So it's people forget how margins and what they are, but every little thing will change your margin. So it's like running that is like running a restaurant business. Your food costs, your margins, everything else. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. So if you can be more efficient on all those things, taxes and your payments and everything else, then you do better. Your payments itself, people don't realize when you put your credit card in, that transaction goes through 5 different entities before it gets anywhere. Right. Everybody gets a cut.
Yeah.
If you're more efficient in that, your margins are better. So you're playing that game all the time. So e-commerce is harder in those little realms.
And is that why you think most people fail with the side hustle e-commerce business? They don't realize getting into it literally, like how important margin is, what it like is actually going to take.
Yeah, that's partially it. Understanding, you don't have to like really be efficient about it, like, but you have to understand what's happening actually.
Yeah.
I mean, do your marketing and sell and go through like any other business. But understanding every piece of it is very important.
Yeah. You got to sell a number of T-shirts just to pay for the Shopify store.
Correct.
I feel like people forget that.
Yeah, I mean, Shopify is roughly about $50 a month, roughly for a basic.
Yeah, line. It's basic. I think it's like 24 right now. Plus, if you want to kind of use their credit card things, but you still got to pay the fees.
Yeah.
And then you got to get shipping. People forget shipping. Forget the box. Forget like all those little things add up.
Yes, they eat into your costs, and then
correct.
Then you lose money.
So I guess that is interesting when you stop and think about it. People forget the whole experience then becomes because they got a second-rate box that they just tape together, and it's like
it arrives in a black bag.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, you could be Amazon putting a trinket into a ginormous box.
It's true. Yeah,
that is true. They got something figured out though.
Well, they do. I mean, most of that is because of how they pack trucks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have a whole algorithm and logistics of how the truck gets packed
to get the maximum.
So if that's like the last order going on a truck and it has to fit in X space, they like to keep everything tight in there.
Yep.
That box will be that big.
Wow.
Kind of. The problem with that is the waste of that.
Yeah.
So the waste, they do efficiency for them, but not the waste for the rest of it. So it's a weird, but going back to small business stuff, like you have to know every piece of it. Now, you want to sell a trinket or sell on Etsy or eBay, try any one of those, right? Yeah. Go to a marketplace and do it. See how it works, and then build it. Like there's ways of slowing down.
Validate this idea.
Before. Yeah, I mean, we've seen people come up and like even startups like, oh, we want to build this thing. It's like, slow down.
Yep.
Let's do it smaller. I mean, there's nothing wrong with building a sign and scrapping it in 2 years when you're making more money.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. People just overdo it.
Yeah. You go too big too soon.
All right. That's kind of leads me into my first big question I have for you. How would you start an e-commerce business if you were going to start one?
40 minutes later, by the way.
Yes. A little slow.
Little slow.
How would I start? So we are actually going to make Sumo Heavy Gear because it's a fun brand and it's what we want to do.
Yeah.
So we've tried it already and we're going to actually do it. We're just going to get print on demand for shirts.
Okay.
Something like Printful. Yeah. That's one of them. Shopify connects to Printful real easy. Printful will handle a lot of the customer service, the shipping and all that stuff. You just got to promote it. So for us, it's putting out there and putting social media out there. I mean, it's kind of fun because it's our brand, but we actually want to do it as a sort of eat your own dog food type thing.
Okay.
Test out a whole bunch of ideas that we want to go through.
Excellent.
That's sort of how we're going to do it. But it depends what you want. Like if it's a trinket, I would start literally on, like I said, on Etsy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Before you get into...
Before you go anywhere, right? There's nothing wrong with, going to Goodwill or stuff like that and figuring out finding small things and selling online.
Yeah. I mean, there was an article actually over the weekend about a young kid who basically goes in Walmart, buys all the stuff that's like been heavily reduced. Mm-hmm. He buys that and then sells it on his own e-commerce platform. Yeah,
so the biggest was a few years ago where you didn't have IKEAs everywhere. Mm-hmm. People were just buying stuff at IKEA and reselling for like a ridiculous money.
Yeah.
My buddy's dad did that early eBay. It was genius.
eBay is still huge.
Oh yeah,
you just gotta know how to hack it.
Yeah, he was early in though. He would buy like lots of sunglasses from China at the time. There was no AliExpress or anything like that. He would literally just buy like 400 pairs.
Yeah, and you're afraid of buying stuff from AliExpress and stuff like that. Go to spring is coming. Yeah, people have garage sales all over the place. You just gotta go do it.
That's like the Gary V, huh? You can just.
It's the whole Gary V thing.
All right, what side do you lay on? Yes, you like him or no?
I like him.
Do you?
I mean, you just got to go deep.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
The surface stuff is a little interesting sometimes. But I also know about him, met him a whole bunch of times over the past 15 years. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So you're on the think he's a knowledgeable guy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so glad his message has finally like dialed in to things, because for a while it was like, no, that's not what you actually are saying.
Yeah. But it's funny because I know a couple guys I used to work with hate his like just sell baseball cards or go to flea markets and like
why
sell it. I don't know.
Why do they hate it?
Yeah. They don't think anyone could turn an actual profit doing it.
Crazy amount of money. There's people who literally are making figures like 6 figures, 7 figures easily.
Yeah. I believe.
But just it takes time. It takes. You have to go do work,
yeah.
right?
Well, like, that's it. My buddy,
everybody wants fast. Like, why?
He has a friend who, the guy, right, is an author, a truck driver. He has multiple jobs, but one of his side hustles is, I'm not going to give it out all of it, but basically he finds vintage denim and sells it to countries in Asia on eBay for this like 20x markup.
So,
that's a huge marketplace.
It has a huge market, and Goodwill actually has a store that does that. So Goodwill has all the designer jeans and stuff, and they kind of follow the pattern of people doing that. They used to go to Goodwill, find all the good jeans, and sell them for half the price of what they're usual. So $200 pair of jeans, you sell for $100. You're still making so much money.
Yeah, genius.
It's just going and doing it.
Yeah.
People want it so quick. A, B, you're not gonna be Mark Zuckerberg. You're not gonna start a startup that's his. No. There's only one in four in our lifetime that happened to.
That's one narrative I hate. The narrative of, in order to be successful, you have to be a 20-year-old founder of a multi-billion-dollar startup. And you're like, if you actually look at the data, most people are like in their 50s.
3 letters, KFC.
Yeah.
Colonel Sanders was
right?
62.
Yeah.
You don't have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's a silly thing. But I think people compare, they watch the network and be small and that's what they do. It's like, no, that doesn't work.
No, it is. It doesn't. No, I agree.
There's a lot more, you can be happy at a level, I'm a happy camper. Do I want to grow and make the... Sure, but that's taking care of every person in the company and my own family.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't want to run Facebook.
Oh, no.
No.
I don't want to face 50 lawsuits a day. No.
No, thank you.
Just the stress of that. No, you know what though? That is something else that was a bunch in the news, and I'll ask you as a small business owner. And our guest last week was an employee benefits broker, wellness, and all. Do you find that yourself having to compete more in that space with offering wellness plan and employee benefits? Is that affecting you as a small business owner in downtown Philadelphia or an old city?
No, I think it's more of tech talent. I mean, we have
a finite number of tech talent.
Yeah, we have that beautiful two buildings in the middle of the city called Comcast. So fighting against that is urban takes a lot too, and then you have every pharmaceutical company out there taking a lot of that, or all the marketing agencies. So for small technology companies, it's a little harder.
Yeah,
which is fine. It is, it is what it is. Some people, we actually just hired somebody last year. He was a big company. He's like, I want a different lifestyle.
I think that's why a lot of people do move from the big Comcast to smaller. I mean, I've done it. I've gone from big to small because the lifestyle's different. You're not you're not constantly on call. You're not constantly thinking. Well, you probably are thinking about it because I do anyway. But you're not expected to be thinking about it every second of every day.
Right. So we're structured 9 to 5. I mean, there's times where for us it's 9 to 5. We don't really work weekends. Now, my business partner and I do, but it's our company, so we do what we have to do, right? We try to structure about 9 to 5. Some people work different hours, but also you can work remotely if you want to. We have people who the guy literally the employee. He's an older guy, not older, in his 40s, but came from a bigger company, came down, and he just wanted to have work from home on Mondays and Fridays because he wants to spend time with his kid because his wife is a freelancer.
Okay.
And like it's just easy, and it's just like this is great. This works. It works for him. You know, we have people who kids get sick. I'm like, go take care of them. That's not a big deal. Yeah. So it changes the narrative a little bit, right? So the wellness and all that stuff. Yeah, are you gonna get probably a little lower salary? Maybe, but we try to keep it into the world. Now, there's times that projects go like crazy, and we have to go take care of them. Yeah. But that's rare. That's not all the time. That's not a normal 100-hour week. So we kind of take it over that way.
Oh, that's awesome. It is. I'm sure I didn't even ever thought about competing against the Comcast of the world for talent.
Oh, no. I mean, you're
a headache, I'm sure.
Well, think about it. The two big buildings, yes, Comcast are one of the big players in this area. You've got some major agencies in this area, huge agencies.
Oh, the farmer school agencies Well, I mean, really, like, obviously, Comcast is just easy to pick on them.
But there's so much in such a small city, quite honestly, that it is hard. And you are up against all of that. And
you're also up against New York.
Yeah.
Because it's an hour and 20. There's plenty of people commute all the time from here.
Yeah.
They do.
They go for the bigger salary. And they're probably younger, to be honest.
Yeah, someone younger, so I want to be stay here. I mean, being a smaller business owner, it's sometimes it's a little harder, but for us, we think the attractives is making sure that we take care of it like a family. We do.
That's the nice thing about being able to have a small business. You
can
do it how you want.
Exactly. I mean, we want them to be comfortable and do the work that we need to get done. Obviously, we have to get the work done, right? Yeah. Clients are everything. That's what pays our salaries, right? But the way I look at it is, the team has to take care of the clients. I'll take care of the rest of it. So that's how it works, and it's a simple thing, and you don't have to be complex about it.
So I gotta ask, where did Sumo Heavy come from? Where did that idea come from?
So it's a really, really weird explanation. It's actually our director of marketing and my name combined. I know there's an R in there somewhere, and then for Sumo, his last name is Suter. And then we just kind of went, everything in Japan is heavy in industries. And so Sumo Heavy Industries was born. And we've had that name for almost 15 years just written on a whiteboard.
Really?
Yeah. So I had a company before this, an agency. My partners left. I had to have a new agency. And it was just like, it's the perfect time to do it. And then the logo came back. It's a good brand. It's fun. We also didn't want to have a company name that's like after my name, really.
Yeah.
Or partners' names, one of those, or web design, or we wanted something weird. And it's a bright logo. People recognize it. It's kind of fun.
I'll tell you, I've always been against naming it after yourself.
It's such a law firm thing.
Well, I said it when I owned a real estate business, like on the Outer Banks, and somebody was like, "Well, why don't you use your name, this and that?" And I actually talked to another person about it. I was like, "You can't sell it as easily. It's attached to you. This isn't attached to." This logo and everything is just an entity. It doesn't say well, where's Kevin? And now over time, real estate commissions have actually knocked down how much you can do because you can't impersonate someone else, especially you name it like first name, last name. You're like, Jim Bob and Associates. You're like, well, where's Jim Bob?
Right. It's definitely different. We just happen to just have that for a very long time, and the logo works.
Do you ever get any confusion with like the Noah Kagan Sumo?
No, he's a good guy. We do sometimes when we're out and about. There's also a Sumo Heavy haulage in England.
Okay.
Which is kind of hilarious. Kid you not.
Really? That's funny.
There's few Sumos around. We just specifically, if you look at everything we write, it has Sumo Heavy on top of that.
Okay.
It's always the two words. And that's the only thing. But yes, there's a whole bunch of times, especially at a tech conference.
I was going to think there, yeah.
It's always, is it? No, it's not. Noah loves tacos. So do I.
I mean, who doesn't love tacos, right?
I know. He's a good guy, though.
Dragons love tacos. Yeah. People love tacos. Yeah.
I always had this thought, like, I had no other Sumo server businesses. Yeah. I want to get to a point where we have, like, a conference of just Sumo Heavy or Sumo businesses.
That would be cool.
Right.
Very cool. So, I mean, besides doing the business, you guys also have had a podcast for a while.
Yeah. It's been running for a bit. Daily, 5 days a week podcast is a little tricky to make. We're on episode, I have no idea. Almost 700 episodes.
Nice. You guys are out there like, what's his name? Who's the entrepreneur on fire? John Lee Dumas.
Yeah. Well, no, he does it every day and he's crazy, but Sorry, John. I love you.
But I mean, a 5-day-a-week podcast is a serious commitment.
It is. We started. It literally was just on the phone. Anchor just came out, and we literally just let's try it. And if you listen to the first few episodes, there's terrible, terrible episodes. But we did it on the phone and just did it, and then it took off. I wanted something that is easy without having that commitment, because it was only us two. My director of marketing and me just doing it, and we had to put something out there. So 3 years later, we're still doing it.
It's awesome. When do you feel like it's contributed to bringing you business?
For us, I look at it as more of a branding exercise, to putting our name out there. I mean, but it has. We had calls, and people bring it up. Like if you're in that industry, in the e-commerce industry, they bring it up a lot. Okay, they're like, oh, hey, you do this.
I don't know. I have to listen more, because I'm just fascinated by e-commerce and know so little about it.
Yeah, it's a quick show. It's under 20 minutes.
Perfect.
10.
That's nice. Right in my wheelhouse of poor goldfish, attention span.
It's a good read. You learn something. It's sometimes it's evergreen, sometimes it's something new. You learn something all the time. Sometimes it becomes like an Amazon show. Sometimes, but
no, I mean it's so interesting, because someone reached out to Wayne from us doing this show, and people have reached out, and I don't know, at times I feel like I'm just talking into the ether, but I guess that there is way more people out there than you actually realize that are thirsty for the knowledge around business and marketing and stuff.
Absolutely.
But there's definitely been a spike in the last 5-6 years of different types of podcasts out there for marketing or design or e-commerce. There's a number of them out there.
Tons. The more specific the podcast, the better.
Yeah.
In our opinion. We're about to release a big one. We have a new podcast coming out. We just launched the first episode last week. It's going to be called In the Ring with Sumo Heavy.
Nice.
A little branding on that. It's really a combination of some tech, some internal stuff, interviews, some pundit stuff.
Cool.
Once or twice a week, we're going to release it. It's something I always wanted to do. It's scratching my own itch.
Nice. And who's any big interviews coming up that you can share?
No. A few small e-commerce places. I think Harper Wild, which is a small startup in LA.
Okay.
That's episode going to come out this week.
Excellent.
I think tomorrow.
So you'll have the e-commerce minute and In the Ring with Sumo Heavy.
Correct.
Excellent.
Yeah.
How much? What do you think how much is the time commitment on that?
A lot longer on In the Ring for interviews and trying to schedule them. A lot longer on writing the script for e-commerce minute.
Okay. Which one are you more excited about? The new one?
The new one. The old. I mean, don't get me wrong. E-commerce minute is still a thing. I love it because I just come in and just do it.
Nice.
In the Ring, there's gonna be some interesting. It's gonna be partially for me, partially for the team. Spread the love.
Is the team excited about it?
Yeah. Yeah, excellent. It's going to be good.
It's going to be fun sometimes when you can do things for your own branding, because as Wayne and I always say, it's too often as agencies, you kind of don't eat your own dog food enough.
Correct. And we wanted to do it as a sort of radio show style of a show.
Are you going to use Anchor to put it out there?
Oh, yeah. Nice. Absolutely.
We do. Somebody turned me on to it that had a podcast, and I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
This is
perfect. It's a good tool.
Yes.
Very good.
Use it.
Is that actually the sponsor of your podcast?
No. Last year, we Pitney Bowes actually sponsored it for a year.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are they big in the e-commerce space?
Yeah, huge.
Humongous. Really?
Yes.
For copy or...
No. They have a whole international shipping stuff.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
God, it's amazing what's out there that you don't even realize.
Correct.
So, I mean, we're almost just to the end. Wayne, any last thoughts?
No, just looking forward to my nice sunny drive home and enjoying my time out.
Little ice fishing?
Ice fishing? Not today. No ice fishing today, folks.
I mean, it's probably too warm.
But I do want to thank Bart for coming in. Great to have you on the show. We'll definitely have you back in. I'm sure there's a lot more wisdom and insights you can give people.
I can talk forever.
I know. That's why I thought of you.
Any last thoughts there, Bart?
No, just keep on plugging away. It's a good Monday.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'd just like to say, again, like Wayne said, thank Bart. Be sure to check out the e-commerce minute. Check out the new podcast, In the Ring with Sumo Heavy. And we'll be back next Monday. Thank you. I hate the end, man. I can't drop it. No, I'm like, what do I want to say? I used to write it out, and I should read it.
We're going to shut down from live, so we'll see you next week. Join us again.
And read.